innovation's often coming from the customer, and obviously because the technology's in their hands. So I think it's really around trying to understand how customer needs are changing. So things like they are becoming more autonomous, they're doing a lot more themselves. However, we need to make it easy for them to do that if we want to shift them to self-service. And if they don't find it easy, they do want to talk to somebody. Customers are omni-channel because they don't think about channels. They have a goal, they go to one channel. If it doesn't work, they switch. I think the challenge then back into organisations is we silo our channels frequently, and because it's easier to do that, how do we become as omni-channel as our customers are? How do we have an agent that can switch around channels and not have to pass the customer around? How do we make it easy for customers to actually get in contact with us and actually, how we help customers get to their goals? So I think the biggest challenge organisations actually have at the moment, there's a little bit of a revolution going on, because certainly in customer experience, the focus has always previously been around cost. And I think there's a sudden dawning on boards of companies that this isn't a cost, this is actually an investment. And certainly there's a whole load of things sort of lining up. So customer experience is becoming a very key differentiator for a start. So there's willingness to invest there. I think there's also things like Net Promoter Score are coming in as strategic scores, so that gets on the CEO's desk. They pay attention to that score, and that goes across the organisation, so the sort of customer centricity piece. And then there's the big data bit, and I think this is where we've always had big data. I hate that word, but it's really around how do we use our data better, and certainly in the customer experience, and particularly in the contact centre space, there's loads of really strategic data coming in that can be used strategically as well to actually drive improvements in the service proposition, products and services, where things are going wrong. Contact centres tend to find out first, so how do they then permeate that out into the organisation? So I think we're getting this shift to prioritising customer experience, investing in customer experience, and maybe moving things like contact very much more central to strategy. There are lots of new technologies on the horizon. I think the one that's really overhyped at the moment are things like chatbots and AI and the paranoia around us robots eating our jobs. I keep saying that that's probably not going to happen for quite a long time, frankly. I've yet to have a profound conversation with Siri or Cortana. So they can do things where they've got the data, but they can't be creative or innovative. They're not very good at carrying empathy. They're not very good at negotiation. They're not going to be good at that for a very long time. And that's actually what we're good at. So I keep saying that particular piece of technology, rather than saying it's going to wipe out jobs, I actually think that we're more likely to look at it, certainly for the short term, having almost a cybernetic relationship, actually putting a very smart agent with a very smart technology to actually get the technology to do the bit that we're not good at, the data bit, get the smart agent to actually do the bit that the technology's terrible at, so the caring and the empathy piece. Customer experience is one area, but obviously management of cost as well. So we've already had this sort of, we need to wow customers, and actually, do we need to wow customers? Do we just need to get the basics right and make it easy for them? So that is around balancing, we call it the demand delta, so balancing customer experience with cost. Organisations need to put customers at the centre of their strategy, and that again is happening thanks to things like measures, so that concentrates the mind. Obviously, we have data capabilities that enhance it as well. But really fundamentally understand your customers, understand your products and services, and evolve as well, and innovate. Certainly I'm in an innovation team, I would say this, but I think the emphasis now is much more around gaining competitive advantage by innovating, and that's driven by digital. We call it the digital possible. So rather than taking what's analog and converting it to digital, actually we have the power now to think digitally, think really differently. How do we do this differently to what we did before? So I think there's a whole load of factors that need to come together around customer experience, around the customer, but also around innovation, and obviously balancing that with cost.